The way we manage the harvest is to take regularly fresh maize samples 14 days prior to harvesting. We go into the stock and take out plants that represent a good average. Then we cut them into 10 centimeter pieces and pass them on to the laboratory. This allows us to see how the DM content is developing, taking into account the weather. In turn, this allows us to get as close as possible to the relevant harvesting time.
We pass the fresh maize samples onto the laboratory in order to document the development of raw nutrients at the ripening stage. At this location, our fresh maize samples can be examined for value-determining elements, such as crude fiber content, along with the development of starch storage over the course of time shortly before harvest. This in turn puts us in a better position to determine the correct chopping time.
Our objective is to have as much starch as possible in the cobs, which is why it is very important that the cobs are harvested when they're at the correct stage of maturity. To do so, you must of course be able to determine the correct stage of maturity. This means that I break the cob in two and look at the base of the corn spindle to ensure the kernel no longer sprays. Just like this kernel here, it will soon be ready for harvesting, and only a bit of moisture still comes out. It is not enough to simply do a nail test at the edge. Instead, it is important to always test at the base of the corn spindle to ensure the maize is ripe, has stored the desired mass of starch, and is ready to harvest. We count our plants for the yield estimation. I could look at how many plants I have in the row, taking into account, of course, my row spacing accordingly. But I can also cut out individual plants and weigh them. If, for example, I have a plant weighing 600 grams and I've planted 80,000 plants, which is partly the case in this instance due to the sandy soils, I could calculate 80,000 times 600 grams, which would give me a very rough 48 tons of harvested product and would tell me how much bond silage I should order. I can achieve this properly by determining the dry matter and will then attempt to harvest the land in a similar way to the order in which it has been drilled. For the dairy cows, the varieties focusing on starch are in the forefront, which means they emphasize the cobs. In the biogas sector, it is usually the total mass that is very high. However, I would actually like to obtain a higher energy density in the maize intended for the dairy herd, and so I sort out my varieties in advance before I grow them, and know which varieties I'm cultivating for which purpose.